Space Marine 2. Is it worth a buy? Is it? Let's read the words of the developer. Embody the superhuman skill and brutality of a Space Marine. Unleash deadly abilities and devastating weaponry to obliterate, I love these words, the relentless Tyranid swarms. Defend the Imperium in spectacular third-person action in solo or multiplayer modes. First up, guys, we'll have a look at the settings. There's quite a few things to twiddle and tweak to get the best out of your rig, whether it's a state-of-the-art one or a pretty oldish one like mine. I'm running this on a 2080 Duke with 32 gig of RAM on a 9.9, and I was running this in 1080p on high, and it was running at 80 odd frames a second. No problems whatsoever. I never felt any frame drops happen at all that I was playing. I did have it most of the time locked at 60, purely for editing and rendering reasons, but when I did unlock that, it went up to about 85 frames a second during battle, which was outstanding, really, considering how old my hardware is, and this is a brand new AAA game, and it looks fantastic, guys. The people I was playing with, I've been playing most of the time in co-op, although I have tested out single player, but they were running 4090s, and they were running in, the first guy was running in ultra wide 1440p, well 3440 by 1440, and he was getting between 90 and 175 frames a second on ultra. The other guy was running in default 1440p, and he was getting up to 110 frames a second. The lowest they ever got was 90, never went below that. So absolutely storms along this game, and I kind say yet again, it looks fantastic. One of the best looking games that I've ever played. It just looks great. Now, you've got a campaign in this, which took us about 9.5 hours to finish. You've got 6 co-op missions, but they change all the time as you level up. I'll come to that later. And you have PvP 6v6. We weren't able to test that out because there was no one to play with, obviously. So we've just done the missions and the campaign. I'll start with the campaign. Like I said, it's about 9.5 hours. The missions last up to half an hour, with the last mission lasting 2 hours. There's a lot of cutscenes, all very, very well voiced. I think there was only one voice in the whole game that I didn't like the sound of. Everything else sounds fantastic, especially the Scottish guy. Scottish people don't do well on video games because people can't do the accent properly. I don't know why they don't get Scottish people to do it, but this one feels like and sounds like a Scottish person did it, and the voice is great.
Heretic Astartes. They're showing up in every hive city on Avarax. We're already overstretched by the Tyranids. The traitors have us off guard. The Adeptus Mechanicus tell me Aurora is ready. They say the weapon will work.
Sir.
I know your concerns, Titus, but we may have no choice.
The characters all fit. They all fit, guys. And that's something in 2024. Everybody you see, yes, I can totally get that you are that person. You look like that person. You sound like that. You are that person. Unlike Star Wars Outlaws, where the protagonist looked more like a hairdresser. The Space Marines look the part and sound the part. The other people you meet, again, they look the part and sound the part. There's this woman, for example, who's in charge of the... it's the allies of this. I don't know. I'm not a massive nerd of this, so I don't know what they're all called. But anyway, she's on the same side as the Space Marines, and she's like a general. And talking to her about a battle that's coming up, and she can't wait to get in. She totally reminded me of Vasquez, you know, that kind of character. She looks the part, though. Again, she's got a big scar on her face. She's quite a well-built woman. She's got that voice that sounds like hard as nails. She says all the right things. The writing's good. I'd totally follow her orders any day. She works completely as a tough, badass woman in this game. And that's what I like about this game. It just has all the right ingredients. Everything's done with meticulous attention to detail. They've made sure all the characters are good in this. The weapons themselves sound absolutely astounding. I mean, all lips out. When you fire the weapons, it's like thunderous booms, especially the heavy bolter. The heavy class is the one that I'll be leveling up when the game finally drops. But the noise that thing makes, and when you go into the heavy stance mode and you're just walking towards the Tyranids, just opening up, and the other two colleagues has got their power swords out and they're just getting into them, it's just fucking great.
Who gives give us a big fucking gun, a big fucking gun, a big pile of elephant gold. Who gives give us a big fucking gun, a big fucking gun, give us a big pile of elephant gold.
The only really weak weapon was the flamethrower. I mean, it wasn't weak in the damage it did. It just didn't look as good as I was disappointed with that. There's not many disappointments in this game, but that was one of them. I'll get the other disappointment out the way, then we'll just stick to the good stuff, shall we? The other disappointment was one of the campaign missions where you were flying through space. It was terrible. It was just so bad. I would have totally axed that from the game. It was terrible. That was it, really. There was one instance where, and I was playing single player, that the many times I died, one of the times I didn't get rezzed by the 2 AI, and they could have. And that was it. There was no other bugs, or we never had any problems whatsoever. Everything ran perfect. Everything looked great, and the gameplay was absolutely brilliant. Anyway, back to the campaign mode. You don't actually choose your class in the campaign mode. You're just given different bits of equipment as you go through the campaign. So, for example, after 2 or 3 missions, you'll be given the jetpack for a specific mission. You get it for a few different types of mission, and they're the most fun times that I had. Leaping around with the jetpack is great. It's so easy to control. It's so well done. It looks great. Crashing down into a load of enemies, sending them flying, and then pulling out this huge hammer and just start swinging it around, doing your combos. Guys, it just feels so meaty. There's so much meat on the actual hammer when you're swinging it around, and you see the enemies getting knocked to 6. You use combos to do that. It's not a complicated set of combos. You've got like a light and a heavy attack. It's just a case of putting them in the right order to unlock the different combos. And there's not many. There's 2 or 3 per character. You've got a block button and you've got a dodge button. They are vitally important. The enemy will emit a blue flash when they are going to hit you with something that you can block. If it's a red flash, you have to dodge. It's as simple as that. And I hate that mechanic in every game except this. And I'll tell you why. Normally you'll see that in a game where you're fighting a boss or something. You don't need it. You should be able to just see by the animations what they're actually going to do. But in Space Marine, you're not fighting a boss. You're fighting hundreds of enemies. And nearly every big battle, you are surrounded. They're behind you. They're at the sides of you. So you're fighting these few in front of you, but there's somebody coming up behind you about to eat your face. And what you'll see is you'll see a quick blue flash on your screen, and you know that that means off your vision, outside of your field of vision, there's an enemy Tyranid diving on you. So you quickly hit the block button, and your guy will turn around and grab it in midair, smack it off the floor, do unspeakable things to it. And it's just awesome. It just sounds and looks great as he does it. And that scatters the mobs around you, giving you a little bit of breathing space for the next thing that comes at you. It might be a block so you can roll out the way, then get back stuck into him. I play as the heavy in the co-op missions, and the heavy is massively gimped when it comes to close quarters combat. He's not meant to do close quarters combat. I have a few very basic moves, but once I get zerged, it's up to the other guys to kind of free me from that. I do absolutely devastating damage from mid-range, really, with my huge heavy boulder. So I've got to try and keep them away from me by shooting them. And if they get close, then it's carnage, guys. And one of the things that I don't like about this that I forgot to mention are the animation blocks. Once an animation starts, so if something jumps at you, you can't get out of that. You can't roll out of that. You can't do anything. You just have to suffer that stagger, which lasts about 1.5 seconds, which feels like an eternity. But then what happens is something else hits you. So you can be literally killed without... It's happened to me quite a few times where 2 or 3 just jump at me and I'm still staggered off the first one, and your health just goes... You have full armor, full health, and it just goes, jump, you're dead. Or very, very mortally wounded. If you are dead, you can get revived. You also can find these relics that you can instantly revive yourself. You can only carry one of those. You have health kits that you can administer, the stims that you get. So there's a lot of things you can do to help yourself before you die, but you will die. This game is quite brutal. We played it on normal difficulty, and we did fail a few missions. Not in the campaign, we didn't fail any in the campaign, but on the co-op missions, we did fail a couple of missions, even on normal difficulty. I was shite, so I'll hold my hand up for that. But we all still had fun. When you do complete a mission in the co-op, you then unlock the perk trees. There's a lot of perks you can put in. Some of them are fantastic as well. We haven't done a lot of this because it's probably going to get reset, and we didn't want to really have to grind it 2 times.
So we'll wait until the game drops before we do a lot of extensive leveling up of our characters. But there's some great perks, and this is where you choose your class. There's quite a lot of classes to choose from. A lot of good melee class. You've got your ranged class, you've got a sniper class, a bulwark class with a big shield on. You've got all kinds of stuff. The assault class is in there with the jump pack, although it does operate slightly different to how it does in the campaigns. You can't jump as high, probably because of the way the levels is designed. But they've all got a lot of perks that can be unlocked that give you extra abilities and damage. Your weapons also have perks as well. So when you're choosing the weapon that you go with, that's the weapon that you will level up. So you have to really make sure you like your class and you like your weapon and start putting the hours into leveling them up and perking them out. And then you'll get to be the ultimate badass. So that's clearly where the future lies for this game. More missions will be coming in. And like I mentioned before, there's 6 co-op missions, but they do change each time you play them as you level up. For example, one of the ones we had to do was plant 3 bombs. The next time we played it, we had to plant 5 bombs. And we had different enemies as well. So it's never going to be the same. As you level up, the maps level up as well. So you get tougher enemies, tougher objectives to do. It keeps it all fresh, but there's more maps coming on top of that. So this is where the future of this game's going to be. So it might not sound like you get a lot for your £55 with your 10-hour campaign, your 6 missions in co-op, which can be all of it can be played in solo as well, or your PvP missions, your 6v6. But like I say, you get all the progression, and there's new levels coming in. The ones that you've got do play differently as you keep playing them. So the future of this game is looking very, very bright because it's so much damn fun to play. So there you go, guys. Space Marine 2 has delivered. It has delivered. You can get it 13% off at the minute on Green Man Gaming. Links in the description. Also, it helps the channel as well. I'm off to kick some ass with my big fucking gun.
You will burn!